Hey everyone, welcome to Logan's Mosh Pit. Glad to have you here. Today we're going to do another episode of the Breaking Down Songs series, the place where we take a closer look at some of my favorite songs from all kinds of different bands and analyze the lyrics, because when we do that we gain a deeper appreciation for the music we listen to. If there's a specific band you guys want me to talk about in a future video, please leave a comment down below. I'll check your feedback. Today we're going to talk about Sir Elton John. I'm going to call him Elton John for the rest of the video because I live in America. So before we get into that though, I want to get something out of the way real quick. I actually enjoy the 70s songs that Elton John released more than the others, mainly because of Elton John's falsetto he used before he got vocal surgery around 1987, and then his voice changed. His voice got deeper, dropped down a few octaves, so he wasn't able to hit the high notes the same way he had before. So I still like some of the later Elton John songs post-70s, like Blue Eyes, I'm Still Standing, Can You Feel the Love Tonight, etc. So I'm still a fan of some of those songs, just not as much as the 70s stuff. So now I want to give you guys my favorite song from my top 5 Elton John albums. I don't have time to talk about all of Elton John's albums. He's released over 30 albums in his very long career. I don't have that much free time. So I'm just going to go through my top 5 that I've listened to. So at the bottom, at number 5, I picked from the Elton John album, Take Me to the Pilot. This is a song that makes you want to bop your head. It has the nice backing vocals thrown in there, so great song. Next up, at number 4, from Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy, who comes up with these titles. They're so weird. I appreciate the tracks that Elton John does where you hear some blasting guitars. You don't see that as often with Elton John, so it's nice when he includes some guitars. Proved he wasn't limited to one genre. This felt more like a rock song than a pop song. So I love this song due to its uniqueness. At number 3, from Don't Shoot Me, I'm Just a Piano Player album, I picked High Flying Bird. This was the last track on that album, and they couldn't have chosen a more beautiful way to end the album. Gives you some vivid lyrics, also has top-notch vocals by Elton John. It was an all-around winner. So at number 2, from the Honky Chateau album, Houston, We've Got a Problem, because I picked Mellow instead of Rocket Man. Sorry, Rocket Man. Mellow is a really classy type of song, so easy to fall in love with, so that's the reason why I picked it instead of Rocket Man. I still love Rocket Man though, don't get me wrong. So finally, at the top spot from the Goodbye Yellow Brick Road album, that's Goodbi, back off grammar Nazis. This is Elton John we're talking about. I picked Bennie and the Jets. Such a slick song, sounds fresh even almost 5 decades after it came out. Absolutely adore this track. So between all those songs, in the end I went with Bennie and the Jets. Bennie and the Jets is the track we're going to analyze today. Take a closer look at. Before we do that though, I want to give you guys some background real quick on the Goodbye Yellow Brick Road album. Fantastic album. Came out in 1973. Sold over 30 million copies worldwide, so a huge success. It went 8 times platinum in the US, which is no small feat. It's a fan favorite among the majority of Elton John fans. This album probably earns the top spot for most of them, including myself. This album gave us many classic Elton John songs, including the singles Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, the title track, of course Bennie and the Jets, which we're going to talk about later, and Candle in the Wind, another beautiful track. This album was actually released as a double EP. It had a total of 17 songs, so a vast collection of songs to enjoy. Pound for pound, I think it's an astounding album overall. Just can hang with almost any other album you name. No albums come to mind right away when I think of albums that are better than this one. This album holds its own against the greatest albums of all time. Absolutely incredible piece of work. So now let's get to the lyrics themselves of Bennie and the Jets. Just keep in mind, this is my opinion of the lyrics. My opinion might be different from yours. That's okay. We all hear these songs differently. The lyrics mean different things to us. So this is just what I think the lyrics mean. Don't take this too personally. There's no right or wrong answer here, so let's respect each other's opinions. So, kicking off things with verse 1, it says, "Hey kids, shake it loose together. The spotlight's hitting something that's been known to change the weather. We'll kill the spotted cough tonight, so stick around. You're gonna hear electric music, solid walls of sound." It takes us to the end of the first verse. For me, the first verse shows how the excitement keeps growing as we get further along. Eventually becomes stronger, leading us to this big event that's going on, kind of foreshadowing what that event will be like, giving you some details about it, telling you that you don't want to miss this. Describes it as a once-in-a-lifetime experience, something that you will never see again. So you gotta take advantage of it. To me, the fatted cough, or calf, however you want to say it, tomato, the fatted cough represents a reward. Something that makes your life worth living. Something that you know all your hard work is paid off, so you're being rewarded. And to me, the ending where he says, you're going to hear electric music, solid walls of sound, that part makes it seem like this act that he's talking about defines limits. They go outside the boundaries. They're capable of making the music come alive, doing things that other bands wouldn't even dream of. They have that ability. So almost mystical qualities being assigned to them. Then we move on to the pre-chorus, which goes, "Say, Candy and Ronnie, have you seen them yet? Oh, but they're so spaced out. Bennie and the Jets. Oh, but they're weird and they're wonderful. Oh, Bennie, she's really keen." So the pre-chorus talks about, this might be a drug reference when they say that they're so spaced out, because we all know Elton John was a big cocaine user back in the day. So might have been related to that part, or maybe he was just referring to someone who gets easily distracted, like they're there but not really there. So Bennie is the leader of this remarkable band that he admires a lot, and Bennie gets mistaken for a ditzy person, someone who's like naive, doesn't see the world for what it really is, not all there. But actually, if you pay attention enough, you'll realize that Bennie is actually a smart and focused person. That's what keen means, focused. So if you look beneath the surface, you'll realize there's more there than what you initially perceive from Bennie. Then we get to the chorus, which says, she's got electric boots, a mohair suit. You know I read it in a magazine. Oh, Bennie and the Jets. Gotta add this on there. So the chorus basically goes into more detail about what Bennie's wearing, what outfit she prefers. Something eye-catchy, very flashy, fancy type of appearance. I think this represents a reflection of Elton John's personal style, because everyone who's familiar with Elton John, who has seen Elton John live, knows that he likes to wear these really flashy outfits that get your attention, that stand out, something unique. And he has a large variety of costumes to choose from. They all have unique qualities, so I think that Bennie was kind of like his twin in terms of style. Then you have the stutter at the end, Bennie and the Jets. I think the stutter means that Elton, or the person in the song, is so amazed by Bennie that he stutters. Like, he becomes nervous around her, or thinking about her, talking about her. You know how you get starstruck when you meet a celebrity and you have a hard time getting words out? I think that's what happened here. That's the reason why he stuttered. So now we move on to verse 2, which goes, hey kids, plug into the faithless. Maybe they're blinded, but Bennie makes them ageless. We shall survive, let us take ourselves along, where we fight our parents out in the streets to find out who's right and who's wrong. So, to me, verse 2 displays how Bennie becomes this savior type of character. That's how Elton views her. Someone who inspires hope within people, restores them to perfection, takes all their wounds and heals them, if you can believe that. Also hints at teenage rebellion happening and this struggle for control that teenagers frequently engage in with their parents. They want to be independent, but their parents still want to control them. So you have this struggle for control, battle over dominance. Neither one will back down, but either way, Bennie will take care of those fans. Everything will be okay because of Bennie. So then we go back to the pre-chorus again, then the chorus, then the pre-chorus, then the chorus, then finally the outro, which just basically says Bennie and the Jets over and over and over. Which I think that part where he repeats Bennie and the Jets over and over just shows how much he looks up to this group, how much of an influence they have on him, how he idolizes Bennie and the Jets, this mythical music group. So now that we've covered the lyrics, let's move on to the mood of Bennie and the Jets. When you listen to this Elton John tune, how do you feel? Well, I think this song raises your curiosity when you hear it. You become curious about this band that Elton John envisioned, Bennie and the Jets. You wonder if, is the hype legit? When he describes this band as something extraordinary, something that's almost too impressive for words, is he telling the truth? Does he really mean it? So, makes you wonder, what would it be like to hear this band perform? Also becomes kind of funny when Elton John slips into the falsetto of his voice toward the end. It always makes me laugh how Elton John's voice changes so much. He's down here, then all of a sudden he jumps up to the falsetto right away. kind of catches you off guard, but in a funny way. I don't know, maybe that's just me. So, what's the most memorable line from this song? I picked maybe they're blinded, but Bennie makes them ageless. To me, this again reinforces that belief that Bennie has supernatural abilities. She can do things that seem impossible, things that go beyond what we're capable of. So, kind of adds to the appeal of her that she stands above others. She can do things that you wouldn't expect, things that can't be explained, but you feel their effects. So now let's go on to the themes of this song. Well, one theme that I noticed right away was how people in our society tend to worship celebrity figures. In other words, people who are either famous or influential. Someone who has a big impact on their lives. I do this too. I think everyone does. Everyone has someone they look up to. Someone who they would do anything for. So we get so wrapped up in these celebrities, we forget that they're human too. They seem almost larger than life to us, but we forget they're just like us. They have the same weaknesses we do. They still have emotions. They're still human underneath all that other stuff. Still, we tend to view them as invincible figures who can't be hurt or immune to the struggles ordinary people go through. In fact, it's just the opposite. They're the same as us. Another theme is you can't judge a book by its cover. Not right away. It takes time to discover the true colors of someone. Often those colors are hidden beneath the surface. Sometimes people aren't an open book. You have to dig deeper to find out what they're really like. I see the same thing in this song. So the final theme that I noticed was about seizing chances before they disappear. You want to take advantage of every opportunity. You know, you miss 100% of the chances you don't take. That's why he acts like this event, seeing Bennie and the Jets, is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Something you will regret missing out on, so you gotta go after it right away. So, let's move on to the strengths and weaknesses of Bennie and the Jets. One of the strengths is the piano. Sometimes it just feels refreshing to get away from instruments you see all the time in rock and metal, guitars, bass, etc. Kind of soften those jagged edges. I think in terms of piano, Elton John can only be rivaled by Billy Joel. Maybe his equal. So that's one of the biggest things that drew me to Elton John was the piano. He just moves through the keys so easily. Gets you as invested in the song as other instruments with the piano. Sometimes more so. The piano is part of his charm. And one of the biggest things linked to him. So then you also have the mysterious lyrics, which basically gives you a synopsis of what the song means without giving away too many spoilers, without ruining any important details. Then finally you have the live whistling and cheering taking place throughout the song, which makes you feel like you're at a concert, at a live show. Feels like this was recorded live at a concert instead of in the studio. Gives you that illusion. So that, I think, further cements Bennie and the Jets, the story of the song. So they're talking about going to see Bennie and the Jets in the song, so the sound effects make you feel like you're actually there. It's a subtle touch, but an important one. Makes it more believable. So the only weakness that I could pull out of the song is that some of the lines seem jumbled, kind of random. They don't flow together seamlessly. It feels like they don't relate to each other. Just kind of jump from one topic to another really quickly. There's no order. It's just kind of a chaotic mess, all jumbled together, all pushed together. Doesn't really make sense. So it's hard to interpret what they mean. Sometimes it can be hard to understand what Elton John says, the way he pronounces certain words. Like from the very first line, "Hey kids, shake it loose together," sounds like, "Hey kids, Satan is the devil." Or when he says, "She's got electric boots," it sounds like electric boobs instead of boots. So sometimes it's hard to understand what he says. Each line seems really different from the next. They're not linked in any way, so that might bother some people. Again, that might be related to the drug use at the time, messing with his head. I don't know. So finally, on a scale of 1 to 10, how replayable is this song? How often are you going to want to come back to it? Well, I would give Bennie and the Jets a solid 9 out of 10. Not perfect, but pretty close. The reason why I didn't give it full points is because that this song has been played on the radio a lot since it came out. They didn't expect this song to be a big hit, but it was. You hear this song on the radio a lot. Elton John performs it almost every set list, so it has endured. It's a beautiful song, but just the sheer number of times Bennie and the Jets has been played, it takes away from that appeal just slightly. Get tired of it, so I only listen to this song every now and then, not on a daily basis, but I can't deny this is still a wonderful song, one of the best Elton John has ever done. So, that's all I have for you guys. That does it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate the support. I'll see you next time. Until then, rock on.